to 30. The cutoff, who usually plays, I think he usually plays 10-20. He definitely plays higher, sometimes at least. A really good player. He makes the call. I thought it was odd that he just called because he'd been 3-betting a lot. I'd only been there for maybe 20 or 30 minutes, but I'd seen this particular opponent 3-bet probably 4 times, mainly from the blinds. But it was still kind of interesting. So I'm on the button with ace-king offsuit. I 3-bet to 140. The under-the-gun player calls, as does the cutoff. We go 3 ways to the flop. The flop comes jack 10, deuce, 2 diamonds, and it checks to me. This is a board that's going to connect pretty well with the opponent's ranges when they call a 3-bet. But not too much with the cutoff, I wouldn't expect, because I think he would 3-bet with pocket 10s and pocket jacks. So I don't think he's going to connect too well with it. I bet 170. I don't mind checking back at all. The under the gun player folds and the cutoff makes the call. The turn is a 3. The cutoff checks. Probably a good opportunity for me to check back, but it's not what I do. I bet 380, and now the cutoff raises to 960. So like I said, I don't think this board's going to connect that well with the cutoff's range. I think he might have jack 10, might have pocket deuces, but I think most likely he's going to have some kind of a draw. And when he check raises, I thought he'd probably have like ace 5 of diamonds, or maybe ace 3 of diamonds, some kind of hand like that, or possibly even 5-6 of diamonds, all kinds of other possibilities with combo draws. So I didn't want to call and then have to figure out what I was going to do on the river. I mean, I could have just folded, but instead I shoved. I thought that the opponent is better than me. He definitely is better than me, and since he plays higher, I thought he wouldn't be afraid to like try and push me around. So I leveled myself quite a bit there. It turns out he had it. He had jack 10. I was drawn to 4 outs. I did, kind of give myself an opportunity to win it, having the gut shot straight draw to go along with my bluff, but didn't work out well. He scooped a 5K pot. I lost certainly 2,000 or more that I just absolutely didn't have to lose. I'm fine with 3-betting pre-flop and even c-betting on the flop. Actually, even betting the turn isn't that bad, but once he raises, I should just let it go. So over the course of the 7-hour session, there were a ton of interesting hands that I could talk about, but I'm really just going to go over 2 more big ones. The next big one happened probably 4 hours after that one. I have pocket 7s under the gun. I raised at 30, the hijack calls, and the button 3-bets to 140. I hadn't seen the button 3-bet once the whole night. He's a rec player, plays pretty straightforward, or maybe even more passively than normal. I make the call. The hijack folds. The flop comes ace 7-4 with 2 spades, so we flop middle set. Perfect board for us, basically. I check, and the button bombs it. He bets 360, which is huge. I just call. There's no other reason for me to raise there in that spot. I'm not worried about the flush draw. One of the spades was an ace, and so I didn't think he'd ever have like king queen of spades or king jack of spades, just based on how I'd observed him playing previously in the session. So I call. The turn is the 8 of hearts. I check, and the button bets 860. He's got about 200 left. I jam. He doesn't really call right away. He doesn't look too happy about calling. So he calls. I figure he probably has ace king. I turn over the pocket 7s. The river is a 6. Pocket 7s are good. That got us up to about a 3K stack. And we're feeling pretty good. Obviously we want to get unstuck for the session. The last big hand, I have ace queen offsuit on the button. Middle position player opens to 30. He's been to some of our meetup games before. Super cool dude. Cutoff calls. I 3-bet to 140. Folds back to the initial pre-flop raiser. He makes the call, and the cutoff folds. So we go heads up. The flop comes queen jack 10 with 2 hearts and 1 club. And this is really kind of the bottom of our value 3-bet range. We're gonna have 10 sometimes, jacks, queens, kings, aces, and ace king. So ace queen really falls kind of at the very bottom of that. The opponent checks, I check back. The turn is the 4 of clubs, and now the opponent jams for 550. I don't love the situation. I toss in calling chips, kind of just thinking that I'm beat. The river comes out, it's a 10, and the opponent doesn't look too happy, so I turn over ace queen, and eventually he turns over ace 3 of clubs. So he turned a flush draw, he had a gutter and an over to go along with it. Luckily we won that one, and we only lost $60 on the session, which is pretty amazing after being down 2,200 at one point. So kind of the coolest session I've ever played where I only lost double figures.